welcome to Walking in My Faith. My name is Lihle. It is another beautiful day on top of the mountain where I just come to clear my head. And this is just a channel that I've started to share my story, although I don't think it is a story worth sharing, but I'm just following God's call to say, hey, I decided to make this decision and know this God, and this is my journey since then. You know, so I've been telling you guys a little bit about myself and the background that I come from, and now I want to tell you guys about actually making that decision and how I came to it. So I remember it was 2020. It was the end of the year, close to, yeah, it was December time, and I was walking here in the neighborhood, and it was a quiet day. Well, I mean, it's always quiet in the suburbs, but it was a quiet day, and I was walking around, and I was thinking to myself, it's it's definitely a different world now from what it was last year. And even I feel that I no longer want the same things that I did, that I was fighting for last year, 2019. But I'm sort of lost, right? Because COVID just hit, everything that happened, a lot of businesses closed down, people lost their jobs. I mean, already South Africa's economy and unemployment was just ridiculous, but it's gotten a little bit worse. So it made me realize that the life that I wanted to chase of a career and being successful financially and all of that, it's not the life that I want anymore, or even a life that would fulfill me anymore. Now, I know that everybody went through a lot of different things through COVID, and somebody would probably just say, would say, no, you were just shaken by death and all of that. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I guess. But I had the same viewpoint about death that I did even during COVID, which was it's unavoidable. You are going to die. That's the one thing you know for sure. When you are born, you live and you will die. You don't know how you will die. And the scary thing would be of the way you die, because I don't want to die in pain. I've always imagined maybe like getting shot. Like I just want an instant death, like getting shot in the brain and not feeling it, just like gone. Because to me, my viewpoint on death was, Uti, the other side is a lot better than right now. Not that I'm a miserable person or unhappy or whatever, but there's things are always changing and you're worrying about the future, and there's so many unforeseen and so many things. I had that viewpoint of, okay, I've seen what life is. I get it. I'm done. There's really, for me, it felt like there's nothing that a person can do that would be anything new that would surprise me from what people have already done. I mean, we've been living for how many decades now as human beings, and it seems like we haven't evolved or become some flying winged creature or anything like that. This is life. Yeah, you go through certain things and life is different for everybody and it changes. But I was like, yeah, if this is life, I think I'm done. I don't think there's anything new that could happen that would make me want to stay on earth, really, because now the way that people are and the way in which we're going and all these uncertainties and what was happening around, it didn't seem appealing or interesting to me personally. So I was like, yeah, no, the other side is probably better than that. Even if the other side is a reset to being born again and then you have an afterlife, at least I would be a baby and I don't have to worry about tomorrow or the future or whatever. Because at that point also, I was kind of like in a space of confusion now that I think about it. I wasn't going to chase my career. I didn't feel like living was really worth anything. I I I didn't see it. People, I just felt like, yeah, no, the people are weird. It's too much for me to comprehend or process. Yeah, no, death sounds better than this. It sounds better than living. So it made me question of Uti. For some odd reason, looking back, I've been a sick person for a long time. There are times when just changing province would make me end up in the hospital because it's just a different environment that my system needs to now adjust to, right? I remember the first time I actually got hospitalized just for coming home. And from the free state, coming from somewhere that's cold and somewhere that's kind of warmer. It's in the low felt. Yeah, your body needs to adjust, and developed pneumonia, so I had to be hospitalized and all that. During COVID, I didn't even get the flu. Yes, my family was definitely, especially in the beginning when we did the lockdown, my family was very careful. We didn't go out for just anything simple. We were just quarantined in the house, the four of us, and barely came out because we were just being considerate to each other, right? So it wasn't that big of a deal. But then a few months later, after the initial first lockdown, I had to go back to Pretoria to school. And even there, I didn't contract an infection. I didn't get flu or anything like that. And I was surprised to say, see, well, all the people who died, and some people were just really healthy, and I didn't die. What? Why? 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 I don't understand. And I don't think that I want to necessarily live. And I don't see what would be worth living for, really. Before, I was excited to be an adult because I thought that being grown up would, I would now have my own money and own car and own house and make my own decisions and do my own thing. But now it's really just, I'm not. I'm not feeling it. Having my own house and own money and all of these things, it doesn't seem like worth it to me. Especially at that time. It doesn't seem like, I don't know, like it didn't feel like it would be fulfilling anymore. Like it didn't seem like something that would make me happy. So I started questioning that. I would see, why am I still here? What am I supposed to do? Where is my place in this world, especially a world that's now full of uncertainty because we didn't know what was going to happen. Is COVID still running amok? Are the vaccines still working? And even the vaccines on their own were just another big issue. Do we get vaccinated? Do we not get vaccinated? Are the vaccine the mark of the beast or not the mark of the beast? There were so many things going on that I felt confused, and I felt like I just don't want to be part of this confusion anymore. I'm just done. I wanna be done with whatever this is. Whatever this is, I'm just done. So it was that of Guti, I don't know where my place in the world is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to chase anything that's not going to be worth chasing. I don't want to do anything that's not fulfilling anymore. I'm done. I'm just, yeah, all of the things that people said were worth whatever, it isn't. It isn't. It doesn't feel that way to me right now. And then luckily, this is December. All of this is happening in December of 2020, my thoughts. And at home, we're still praying together at 8. My mom, my brother, and I, still praying together at 8. And I had been asking this question. I had finally said, you know what, God, I don't know why you have me here. I don't know why I'm still here. I don't know what my purpose is or my place is. And they say you are the only one who can see the future. So you're the one who knows what's going to happen. And you're the one who's going to know where I would be most fulfilled or most purposeful. Ne? So I'm just, if you want to kill me, please do it now. Like I'm over it. But if you have use for me, let's get into it, because I'm just, yeah, I'm over this life thing. I either keep me here because you have a higher purpose for me, or take me away. You know what I mean? And yeah, over the time you learn that, see, even your purpose, it doesn't have to be the biggest thing in the world. Like it's not like you're going to make the biggest sacrifice like Jesus did. You know what I mean? But the small thing that you can do just to change even one person's life, that is worth it. It is worth it. But it was still a questioning thing that was running through my mind. So in January, when January came, I finally wrote down my prayer request to say, strengthen my faith and give me peace. That's all I want. Strengthen my faith and give me peace. Let me know you, and then make the decision of, is following you worth what people say it is, and will that fulfill me? Or is it going to be just another meaningless thing that I'm just going to get confused by and then write it off as in I'm done? Because once I'm done, I am done. So it became that thing. And in the beginning, obviously, I didn't know how to go about it and what was I supposed to do. But the important thing, and the thing that I think that where you should start, is giving it all to him. You have to basically be done, and be letting him to take over. So it goes back to the same thing of see, the expect relationship of how easily I gave and how much I didn't care. At this point, I was at the very same point of I don't care if I die, I don't care if I live, I don't care if I have to end up where the wind blows, my lord, where the wind blows, because I don't know, and all these people are just crazy, and all these things are happening. Look at what Africa is splitting, deserts are drying up, all of these things are happening, and it's scary, honestly. And yeah, I'm not into it. So I still continue to pray, and in my prayer, there's a lot of things that I learned within just that first month of let's first start here. I need guidance. So let's pray for guidance. And God gave me that. My friend came through and then he started helping me with my journey. And I think it needed to be someone that I've seen walk in it, because I know a lot of church people, including my own family. And because the idea of church and the idea of God have to be two different concepts for me, because I've seen the way church people live their lives and what they say is contradictory, and I don't want that. I want someone who's in it and doing all of this. So it had to be someone I know personally and someone I've seen walk in it sort of firsthand. So that was my friend, obviously. And obviously now having the communication with him played a big role. So I did treat a lot of the sessions that I had with him as in I'm just having a conversation with someone who will guide me as well. So sometimes I did treat it as in I'm having a conversation with God and I just need help. And sometimes I would take my walks and treat those as conversations with God, because there's a lot of questions I would ask, and a lot of things that I would say, and a lot of crying that I did. It was just long journey. But in that, within the first 3 months of me, like around March, April, a lot of things that I started to see were changing in my life. You know what I mean? It wasn't the same anymore. And it's not like big things. People were thinking, would say, it's big things that have to happen for you to see that he's here. No, it was just a little bit of, like my mom would say, sometimes you think that you're the one, or you think it's God, but then maybe it isn't. But the moment it's like confirmation from other people when you hear it. This is why the understanding of church, of gathering and having fellowship with other people, became the answer to my sort of judgment on church, was that this is what church is supposed to be, and this is what church does for you. So we don't have to be a mass congregation and do Sunday mass like normally do. But just meeting and gathering with people, just talking about God is church. Just that's right there. It's the concept of fellowship. So talking to people in my age group, going through the same things, well, similar to the same things, because they were still, worried about the future, working and all of that. And I was no longer there, although I didn't share that with anybody. I don't think I did say to everybody, would say, oh yeah, I'm no longer worried about job, worried about the money, worried about a house and all of that. I feel like I'm okay with that God now. Yeah, as a human person, there's so many things that you wish you had access to and all of that. And also you realize that that's what money is. It's basically just a tool to get you all the things that you want, but it is not what will fulfill or sustain you. So that's what I was looking now. I was looking for fulfillment. Like I want to be fulfilled. I want to be in my purpose rather than just chasing a career and money. And I knew that when people say they could say they just want jobs, this is another thing that my cousin and I had to learn when she started working, was that you pray for a job, but if you're not specific about the job that you want, then basically any job will do. And that's what I realized. See, I don't want just any job. I want a job that will fulfill me, a job that will not take me away from God. Now, job that will not take me away from God. But at that point, I was no longer chasing money or anything like that. And I think it was easy for me because I didn't have responsibilities. For someone with a child and a husband and wife and kids and all of that, all those nitty gritties, bills and all of that, you have to be chasing basically money, especially if you have bills and you have someone you have to support and take care of. With me, I didn't have that. My parents are very financially savvy and they studied finance. Obviously, my mom worked for SARS at some point. So they know a lot of tactics. So my dad never allowed us to get credit cards, open clothing accounts anywhere, open any. You never, basically, you don't, the rule in the house was don't agree or don't sign anything that you don't know, that you can't understand. And you ask or you just don't. So I don't have a clothing account anywhere, although my parents still pretty much do fund me for clothes. I don't have a bill in my name. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't have to take care of a child. So it became easy for me to just say, whatever, you know what I mean? And there are people who don't have that luxury. No, they have to get a job. They have to chase money. Unfortunately, it is the circumstances they are in. So I'm very happy that the circumstances that I was in allowed me to say that and make that choice. So yeah, but talking to people, understanding people, what I did like the most about our sessions as a youth group in this is a different church from my church. From the church I go to, I'm meeting with a different group from my church because my church wasn't doing this, but I wanted that fellowship. So I was guided to that. And meeting them, and what we used to do is we would focus on a book. So all of us are reading, for example, let's say the book of Esther. And when we meet on Fridays, it's basically a sharing of what did you get from the book? What did you get from the book? What did you get from the book? And it's not just limited to the book. There's discussions just open up. Trust me, 3 hours feels like a lot when you're saying, "How we're gonna meet for 3 hours," but when you're actually meeting and you guys are talking, it's so much fun that 3 hours just passes away just like that, and you didn't even notice. But what I'm saying about it was that when we were sharing the book, there are things that God revealed to me that he revealed to the next person, that he revealed to the next person, but it's not the same thing. But what I liked about it was all of these things come together and sort of make a mass explanation of where we need to be, in a sense. Like, it's one of those things that you get out of it. Of that, Utsi, when it is sort of reinforced or confirmed by somebody else and you also got the same message, it means we are in alignment and God is in alignment with us, type of thing, you know what I mean? And it was satisfying. So yeah. And as time went by, I still didn't have peace because the world is still in, critical condition. There's still so much uncertainty in the world. And one of the things was that you see the people who you went to school with or your peers, people your age, are, well, I don't know. I became less sort of, what is the envious? Yeah, I became less envious of the things that they had because I knew how much effort and work they had to put in that, and I'm no longer chasing that. So it wasn't a matter of those things, but then it also made me think, was the other things that I have to give up that I wouldn't get? Do you get what I mean? And as much as I'm not looking for God to get stuff, it's just a question of, with the world carrying on, what, you know what I mean? So I needed that peace. Like, there was still so many questions that were still riling up my spirits, in a sense. So I remember this was towards the end of the year, and at that time, God had sort of taken a lot of things away that were, I don't want to say distractions, but they weren't in alignment of the way I wanted to go and live my life and all of that. Just like, I don't want to say the friends you have or anything like that, but you do go to a little bit of isolation where you're not accessible by everybody anymore. That you are sort of guarded, in a sense. You are protected. You're only getting exposed to people who are in the best interest or in the same alignment as you. That's kind of like what was happening. So a lot of people stopped calling me, stopped texting me, and I was still talking to, my close friends and everybody I considered still, but because they were part of the world, I think that was what was stressing me out, or what was riling my spirit is, the people I'm talking to are still a part of the world. They're still chasing things of the world. And as much as I don't chase those things, they are still things of the world. There's still things that are happening right now that are in my face that I'm exposed to, and that's not giving me peace. So towards the end of the year, I think around August, September, was either August, yeah, August, September, I was taking my phone out of the charger and it just went black. The screen just went black. The phone didn't die. The phone works. You can call it and all of that, but the screen just went black. And my dad gave me some money because I had to decide now if I wanted to fix the phone or buy a new phone. Now I know my parents are, again, very strict about money and savvy about money. This is why we're in the position that we're in, because they don't just spend money. They're very, conscious about it. So I had to make the decision of, am I getting a new phone or am I fixing this phone? And I thought about it, if I get a new phone and my parents are buying the phone, they won't buy me an expensive phone that I want, that has the quality or whatever that I want. It will just be another phone, basically. So I was like, let me just get it fixed. So I went and I got the screen fixed. And the question was, do I repair the screen or do they replace the screen? And I was like, replace the screen, please, because I just don't want to have this issue again. And the guy did that and I took it home. And the phone worked nicely for about 2 more weeks. And then the same thing happened again. Now, when the same second time happened, I didn't stress about it like that I did the first time, because the first time I was worried about, oh my word, how is anybody going to reach me? Job opportunities or whatever. But then, yeah, okay. But then I still want to talk to my friends, and I'm still on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. How am I going to keep up with the world? Blah, blah, blah. So I was kind of like anxious to get it repaired the first time around. The second time around, not so much. I don't know what it was, but the second time around, after not having my phone for just 2 days in that space of getting it fixed, the second time around, 2 weeks later when it broke, I didn't panic. I didn't panic. I didn't care. I wasn't worried about it. I was like, okay, well, apparently I'm not supposed to have a phone. I guess this is a sign from you, God. I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with it. And I left the phone there. And I didn't tell my parents that my phone doesn't work. I just turned it off and left it there. And I was okay with being phoneless. So I wouldn't wake up in the morning and reach for my phone and then go on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, just scrolling. I'm not posting. I'm not an active social media person, but I'm just looking and I'm feeding into what's going on. And I'm looking at all these things, cars, nice houses, nice whatever. And it's not that I'm want to chase it and I want it, but it's nice admiring it and looking at it and thinking about that. This is it. But I think that having that grab my phone for the first, and they talk about how damaging that can be to, your mental state. So not having it was great because it wasn't the first thing I reached for. Don't have anything to reach for. And it wasn't the last thing I looked at before I went to sleep. It became my Bible. That became my Bible. My Bible became the first thing I reached for and the last thing that I reached for before I came to sleep. Like it's like literally before my phone and my laptop were sleeping on the bed next to me. Like, when you have a bed like this, someone asked me once, see, how do you sleep in this small space and not turn and anything like that? Because they were asking me, aren't you afraid that your laptop and your phone is going to fall in the middle of the night? And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And like, no, I don't move much. I get into this right space, right edge of the bed right here, and the laptop and the phone has majority of the space on my bed. The laptop and the phone have more space than me on my own bed. So obviously now my Bible took that place. So my Bible, and my aunt taught me this trick of leaving my Bible open next to me, not closing it. She learned that during her son, when her son was a baby. Her son in the middle of the night would just start screaming and crying like for hours for no reason until it was like about 3-4 in the morning, and then he would stop. So having the Bible opened in the room next to the child, it calmed them. I don't know, people have all these things about babies, and they say babies can see things that we can't see. So she taught me that trick, which I now do it all the time. Just have my Bible open right there next to me. Not all the time, but most of the time, more often than not, my Bible is next to me open. It is always next to me on the bed, but sometimes it's closed, not open. But I like that trick. So having no phone, no access to people, not going on Instagram, Facebook, social media every day, it gave me finally that peace, because now more and more I was more focused on God's word and conversating with him, because we were building the relationship. And then it hit me that maybe this is why my phone broke, because it was one of those clutches that I was still holding on to in things of the world. You know what I mean? It was one of those clutches that I felt like, because I'm always reaching for my phone, because I'm always, on my phone, I can be on social media. And when I'm on social media, that worry, fear, and disgust with myself, and feeling inadequate, and being, it just rivaled up my spirit again. So being taken away from that, it filled God's words more and more into my mind, because I spend time in the word, and I spend time in relationship with him. And that's why I tell the Sunday school all the time, the first thing I want you guys to do is make this your best friend. He's your best friend. He's that guy who will hear you, not to go, and you won't hear all your secrets from anybody else, and he will help you, and he will give you your strength, and he will show you that you are loved at the time where you feel like you're the worst possible human cockroach that could ever live. You know what I mean? So it's that. It's like having that, the person you can always go to, always talk to, and he's always around. He's in you. He's always around. There's no time you're without him. So, and that taught me another habit of, if God's always with me, then anytime I can just be in conversation with him and tell him and show him the things that frustrate me, and be like, you see your people, they're doing it again. This is why I don't want to be here. This is why I don't want to be here. Or do you see that thing? It's happening again. Or, ew, I feel really out of it today. Oh, I feel weak today. Oh, I feel, it's like having someone to talk to, but, and you feel so comforted by it. Ne? That you don't feel like you're talking to yourself. You don't feel like you're alone. You don't feel like anything is missing. You feel like your friend is here and they're talking to you and they're there for you. You know what I mean? And when I hear it, maybe it's something that I was crying about earlier on in the week, and then I go through the week, and maybe Saturday I'm chilling with somebody, and they bring up a verse or something that relates or will strengthen me with what I'm going on. See, these are the ways God works. These are the ways. There's so many different ways in which he works, but these are the ways I started noticing him working for me. So I knew that every time I ask a question, I will get my answer. I'm not going to get it immediately, but I will get it. I will get it. And yeah. So after that, my phone, I was off of social media, off unreachable basically for about 2.5 months, almost 3 months. Yeah. The only person who then got tired of me not having a phone, I think, was my dad, because every time he wanted me to help him with something in the house, I was unreachable. And if I'm the only person in the house, you know what I mean? And our house phone is connected, is also our fax line. So we don't use the house phone. That's our fax line. So when the phone rings, it rings and then immediately goes to the fax. So you would, on your side, you would just hear ding, and then that tone the fax does, you will just hear that part, and you won't be able to communicate with someone else. So my dad bought me a phone, simple phone that, it's a smartphone, but it's just a simple phone that he could call me at, and I could download stuff. Yes, I can have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp. I can have all of these things on the phone, but I didn't rush to it. For a while, for the rest of the year, basically, this phone just had my SIM card, meaning you just called me, and a couple of games that I would just play every now and again. Like, what is this? The Candy Saga, Candy Crush. Yeah, I like those minding games type of thing. You have to think about just mismatch. Yeah, and that's it. And then in December, I finally went on Facebook, and something was like, and I scrolled a bit, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this again. So I deleted my account. Just delete. Did not deactivate. delete, because it asks you, Kuti, do you want to deactivate the account? Because if you delete the account, you can't have another account ever in life. And I was okay. And I was like, yeah, no, I want to delete this. I didn't understand it in the beginning anyway. And I don't have a problem with not having it. Delete. I deleted it. I never re-downloaded Instagram. The only time I went onto Instagram in December, I think December, January of 2020, 2021, 2022. I was going there because I wanted to find a number that I didn't have on my phone, a friend of mine I wanted to be in contact with. So I went and I just DM'd them quickly to just send me their number so that I have it. And then I was done. And I guess my accounts are still active in terms of Twitter and Instagram, but I don't have them on my phone. I haven't been on them since that end of that year. And I'm okay with that. The only thing that I have is Pinterest, also for design purposes, but yeah, it also works as a social platform, I guess. But people, it depends on how you look at it. But Pinterest works for me in terms of design, like keeping up with designers, and YouTube also for information. And this is where I get some of my testimonies and sermons that I watch to encourage me, especially like when you hear Priscilla Shaya preach. Oh man, yeah, I know. Things like that. So I chopped off social media completely. And the only time I got WhatsApp was now, this year in March, I think, and for church purposes, because I'm in the youth committee, and the youth communicates with WhatsApp using WhatsApp. So I had to download it. And what I did also is that I got a new SIM card that has a number that people don't know. I didn't do SIM swap or anything, and I used this SIM card to download WhatsApp. So it's a new number that nobody has access to, meaning even my old friends and everybody. Not that I don't want to talk to anybody. It's just that I feel like it's giving me it's keeping me in my peace, not having access, and people not having access to me still like the way they did before. It's giving me peace. So this number just has church groups on it and everybody that I am associated with at church. My private life is on another SIM card, and all those people know that if they want to talk to me, they must call directly. They must call directly. I did get Telegram though for that phone, but it's not everybody who's on Telegram. I have a couple of friends. I keep Telegram for a few people as well. But I don't post. Well, I don't know. Does Telegram have status these things? Because I don't see anybody status on Telegram. I don't know if they do, but I just don't status because again, I have like about 4 people I talk to on Telegram privately about my own private stance. They're just friends I didn't want to lose, that were very, very valuable in terms of the people that they are. So yeah, those are the people that I talk to on Telegram. But now it's not every day. It's now once and again when we're checking up on each other, making sure you're still good. I'm praying for you, my girl, type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how I keep kind of my peace, is that I don't fill my space with social media, with what's going on in the world. And this past few months, I had to go back into the world, which brought me really, really, really down. I mean, it was a build up from church. I'll tell you guys all about it because it's like a whole 3-4 months in the works. But yeah, I had to remind myself again, or get back into remind myself again not to worry about the conditions and what's happening in the world. God got that. He's got that. All I have to do is just focus on what he placed me to get. You know what I mean? He said, "Girl, go do this, and I will do this," while he got all of that. That all of the other things I was worried about, but he's reminding me again that don't worry about that. Don't that right there has nothing to do with you. You are on this path right here. Walk your race, girl. Walk your race. Don't run your race. Just walk it nicely with me. We'll be together. It's fine. So yeah. So that's basically how God strengthened my faith and how he gave me peace. You know, he took all the noise that I was having from the world. He took that out of it. Now I don't like. I think one of the reasons why I'm maybe afraid to go back on social media is because I feel like if I go back, then I might start hearing that noise again, and I won't hear him anymore. And I don't want to. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to a space where I'm not in communication with the Lord. So it's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily want to go back. And one of the reasons why actually starting this channel, why I started it in the beginning of the year, but for me to post, because I was like, if I post, won't I have to now do all the other extra nitty gritty, everything else? And remember, you promised me peace. It was like, no, that's not what we're doing here. You don't have to do nitty gritties. Just why not tell your story? Share your story the way it is, the way I helped you, the way I did things for you, and who this will touch who I wanted to touch, and it will work the way I want it to work. Don't worry about all of those access things. So it is things that I'm not worrying about. But habits that I did develop during that time that I didn't have before was staying in the word, because they're right. That's one of the defense mechanisms you have against temptation, against all of the other things. Is when God's word lives in your heart, it's easy for you to say, "Ugh, man," that doubt and fear and all of those things, to be like, please hush yourself. My God is on the works. Don't even. Those are the habits. Like changing the mindset was one of the habits that I learned to go through. One of the other things that he's working on right now is for me not to take sort of certain things personally. And the other thing that I had to also deal with is my guilt, that I felt so guilty, especially after you guys heard my history, the background that I come from. So like I didn't know, ne? It's because I chose to ignore it. I chose not to follow. I chose not to get to know him, and just decided to focus on, oh, the church is doing this. Oh, the church is doing that. Oh, the church is bad like that. Oh, look at these people. They say they're church people, but look at what they're doing. That's not church. But, but he had to be like, hush, you, get over that. That's not for you. That's not for you. You know what I mean? So it works on that. It works on your heart. It works on that. And please, if you're taking this journey, I'm asking you to not go at it as if you want something to happen today. He must show himself today. He must do all of these things today. He must answer my questions today. It is not a thing like that. It's like building any relationship. You know what I mean? Any relationship with anybody, a friendship, a co-worker relationship, you have to, it's a build up. You have to build. You have to get to know this person. This person has to get to know you. You have to, have discussion, disagreements, heartbreaks, and all of it. It's the cycle of it. You know what I mean? So just because you're still feeling maybe, for me, because I was so open and willing, and I don't know, a lot of things had sort of been, a lot of yeah, let me say that. See, the one thing that you have to pretty much do in the beginning is put your walls down. Cease fire, break your walls, let him also break your walls. You know what I mean? Let him work on it. It's not a just like that you are healed, you are all of that. It's a thing of good now, because you're still in a place of, let's call it, darkness sense. Mentally wise, you're still thinking of yourself as a failure. You're still thinking of yourself as all these bad things. You're still thinking of yourself as a sinful person, ugly, totally. You know what I mean? But he works on that. He works on that. And you learn a lot of things. You learn to forgive yourself, forgive him. You learn to forgive others. There's so many things that he breaks and he builds, and he breaks and he builds. And you have to be willing to let him mold you. Have to be able to let him mold you. Because if I fought that first year, if I fought him that first year, I wouldn't have made so much progress to now. You know what I mean? I think if I had fought him that first year on him tearing my walls down and building me back up again, there's so many things that I wouldn't be ready for. There's so many things that I'll still be fighting in my mind. And it doesn't stop. Obviously, you're in the world. You're seeing these things all the time. They're in your face. But knowing how to deal with them now, ah man, it's a whole different. Had become a whole different. A whole different thing now. We are on a whole different level now, and it's only because I let God work in me through that time, and He's still working in me. I'm not done with my journey. I think the only I realize is the only time I will be done with my journey is when He calls me home, and He says, "Okay, girl, we're done now," and then He'll be done, and then we'll be done. So yeah, I have still a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. If you still want to continue hearing my story, and if this is, and also hearing some of the things that I'm going to teach my Sunday school, is like so much material that I got into, that helps me. But if you still want to hear my story, like, subscribe, share with your people. I don't know. And I will check you guys in the next video. I think the next video, guys, is going to be about like, because I also had to look at my life and all the things that I had been through at from the time, I guess, I started understanding certain things until that time in 2020, because also that played a role in me making the decision. So I guess I should tell you guys a little bit about that, and I'll tell you guys about that in the next video. So if you want to hear, I'm here. All right, enjoy the rest of the day. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Goodbye.